Hey, Jen, welcome to the podcast.
Hi there. So excited to be here.
Yeah, I'm really excited to have you as well. And we've been chatting for the last few months. And anyway, it's been really fun to see your growth. So before we dive in, can you tell everybody a little bit about what you do?
Yes. So I'm Jen Vazquez. I am the founder and CPO or Chief Pinterest Officer of Jen Vazquez Media. And I help photographers and other female service-based businesses learn how to harness Pinterest and use it effectively without the overwhelm that comes in about an hour a week.
Wow,
Yeah.
that's good.
I've got it down
Yeah.
to a science over the years.
Awesome. Yeah. So I invited Jen onto the podcast because she is a homegrown traffic SEO student. And every year at the end of the year, even throughout the year, I ask students, hey, do you guys want to come and talk about your experience with the course and your results? And I think this is just really helpful, not just for, obviously for me to show the results of the course, but also the experience of learning SEO, because I think a lot of small businesses and business owners just get really overwhelmed and just feel like it's this beast of a thing to learn. And I just want to share that it doesn't have to be like that. It can be something you slowly get at over time, and it's a skill like all the skills we have in our businesses that you can figure out. So before we get into like Jen's results and everything, Jen, what was your kind of feeling, emotion, thoughts before the course? Like, what were you doing? What was like going on in your head about SEO before finding the course?
So I'm going to be totally honest here. It was like, nails on a chalkboard. And it's one of those things that, when there's something that you really don't want to do, or you really have tried yourself and you feel so frustrated, sort of defeated, and I'm a very positive person, I turn to avoiding it. And so I knew for years that I needed to work on SEO. And I kind of took bits and pieces of things I saw you speaking about here and there for like free education. And I really enjoyed how you made it sound not just easy or understandable, but you actually got joy from it. And so I'm like, and then I get the same thing with people about Pinterest, where people are like avoiding it like the plague, but they know they need to use it. And then once they start working with me, they're like, what was I like freaking out about? And I do feel the same. Now, it is still a muscle that I need to flex and work. I think I bought your course about a year ago, maybe a little longer. And I was not going to be able to tackle the whole thing because it's like over my head so much. And so I decided that each week I would like watch a video and implement. And so over the year, which is not my normal thing, I'll usually take a weekend and try to do it all at once, but I knew I would frustrate myself. And I know that SEO, I've learned not just from you, but just knowing marketing in general, how important it is. And so for me, that's the only way that I could get through it without wanting to pull my hair out.
Yeah, no, you have to find the way that works for you. And the course, the videos are under 10 minutes. I actually broke it down. I think the last version of the course is like under 5 minutes video snippets.
Yes.
Except the technical module has longer because they're just longer explanations.
But I love those, believe it or not, I'm saying this. I love those technical videos because I put like side by side the screen of your video, and then I put my console or Google Analytics or whatever you're touching base on the right side. And then I'll pause you and I'll go and then I'll play it. And so I'm not watching it feeling crazy
Right.
and then trying to implement afterwards. And so for me, I don't mind those long videos because it's more of a side by side. And I know once I'm done with that video, it's done.
Right.
But I do love how you sort of explain what's going to happen and then you do technical. Like it makes me
Right.
feel eases me in.
Right. Yeah. I think a lot of people think they're going to start the course and like, just, I'm going to tell them where to put words and like the magic place in the back end of your site that makes it SEO friendly. Like, where's that checkbox? And it's not like that at all. It actually challenges you to think about your business, right? And that's the first module. Like, what are your people searching for? So anyway, going back, so it sounded like you were just kind of like all over the place with your SEO, overwhelmed. And so, I mean, obviously that was what you're coming with, but specifically, what do you think was the biggest struggle before the course of like sitting down and doing your SEO? Was it having, okay, I'll let you answer it, but like, I have an idea
No,
of what
that's
it might have
okay.
been.
Go ahead.
No, just having a methodology. I think a lot of people have like lots of tips, and like even in my own content, I have like things here and there. But what I teach in the course is a 4-step methodology that's simple and it's easy to repeat. I don't know if that's one of the things that helped, but
I mean, obviously, I think you do a great job of sort of giving the why, right? It's something hateful, but I mean, to me, but if I understand sort of why it's important, and then I see as you're going through the technical side of it, how much more information, because I'm an information junkie. I'm an analytics junkie. I have always had my Google Analytics and I kind of knew how to do it. And then GA4 came out and I was like, oh, and then when you updated your course, which, can we just say something about that? Because the fact that you update your course, I just have never had that experience. And so for me, the funny part is I'm really good at keywords and search terms and that type of SEO, because it's very not similar, but it's the same concept on Pinterest. So I
right.
totally got that. And yet I still learned even more, because you're showing us where to go to see how they rank, like in terms of this is the most searched, so maybe I'll go to a medium, I don't know the terms, but
Yeah.
maybe I'll go to something that's a little easier, but it's got a high volume. That blew my mind. And now I have like a list of these keywords. I've implemented them. Each blog post, I'm focusing on a set of keywords, not trying to throw them all in there, because A, it doesn't work, and B, I want to be as effective as possible. And then the fact that you teach us not just how to set up all of those technical analytic stuff, but you teach us where to look. And when you're looking, this is what it's telling you about your content. That was really my favorite part. And that's what has kept me being consistent and going through the course, is because I know the why behind, and I know how I can be more effective. And I am all about working smarter, not harder. So for me, that's what your course allowed me to do with SEO.
Oh, I love that. Yeah, I think a lot of people don't realize that you don't actually need to look at all the reports in Google Analytics. Like there's actually only two to three that are really the most. Of course, you can, if you want, you can, but like what I teach is the most important reports and how to read them, because they're overwhelming because they have a lot of information. But if you're able to focus in on the areas that are actually giving you insight and understand the questions that you want to ask them, they're not that hard to understand, right?
Well, and another thing that really helped me to that point is that I was listening to people who were like saying how horrible GA4 was. And then I upgraded to GA4 because I know we have to anyway before 2023. And I was like, where do I find my landing pages that are the best? How do I find specifically the stats on how I find out how many people came from Pinterest, which is
Right.
really important, not just my business, but for my clients who I do Pinterest for. And when you explained it, it was like, oh my gosh, there's actually better information and it's almost easier to find. I just didn't know how. And so the why and the how are both included in your course. And I mean, I just can't recommend it highly.
Oh, thank you. Great. So yeah, so it sounds like the course gave you methodology. It kind of like gave you that shortcut with reporting and also taking action. So I guess more specifically, what like lessons or features of the course do you like just love or you find particularly helpful?
I loved in particular, I like it all, but in particular, and it's something that I've gone back to, so I know I really like it, is doing the analytics on the content that you already have and the tips on how to, not how necessarily, but sort of the background from an SEO perspective on how to write them and the permission, I'm going to say this like 100 times, but the permission to write and get information in, obviously have some kind of a conclusion, but then to go back and add to it. And then go back again months later and add to it and beef it up till it's a really good, beefy blog for people who want to slug through it. But what the beefy blog does for my website is allows me to get found by more people because it's looking more, in my terms, looking more valuable to Google, and thus they want to share my stuff with more people.
Yeah.
That makes sense.
Yeah. I think I don't know many, I do know a couple, and maybe some of you listening are like this, but I don't know many people who sit down and can just write 2,000 words. Like it's not, and especially we're all trained with short snippets of information. I mean, that's the internet today, and Google knows that. So how do we sit down and write a lengthy blog post? We do it in parts, right? And it's just funny that people don't allow themselves to just go with the flow of what works with them. And so, yeah, I definitely feel like hopefully the course, it's like you find your way of doing it, right? And I give you some ideas, but at the end of the day, it doesn't have to be this painful experience of like gluing your butt to the chair, although sometimes, you know, you have to.
Well, and it also by teaching us where to look to know what's going to resonate the best according to the content you already have gives me more ideas, and it also gives me more encouragement to write blogs weekly, because I know that sounds silly, but we have permission. Like we're perfectionists at heart. We started a business because we wanted to do it right.
Right.
And so I would have a very big, long, beefy blog, but then I would not publish blogs each week. Right. So permission to do it's, for me, it's kind of thinking outside of the box of everything you hear out there. And I'm finding success with it. And that's really all that matters, is something that's works with me and the way I want to work, and still bringing results and still getting found by new people. So I'm on a mission.
Oh, I love it. Yeah. And the other thing is connecting that writing to the rest of your marketing, and it not having to be this thing that you have to set aside tons of time. It can actually be something you're doing with your social media writing, with your podcast, with whatever, with your email newsletter. And so that also makes it easier because suddenly you're combining that writing and recycling it right into other areas of your marketing.
You just gave a lot of variety in terms of whoever you are and however you like or want to work. There's a way to do it and still put blogs out there. So that's still my favorite.
Oh, that's awesome. Okay, so let's use this part of the interview. I'm going to share my screen and we're going to look at your Search Console. So basically, this is one of the tools we use in the course that we use to track results, right? And this is an important tool because, like we just said, it's so much more motivating when we see that we're actually getting clicks and visits. And so that inspires you to keep writing, to keep creating content. Or if you're starting, it's like, oh, I could rank for this. Or like, oh, there's people like looking at your keywords. You're like, oh, there's actually people searching for this. And you have that like human connection that, you know, a lot of us crave in our businesses because we spend time alone in front of the little computer.
Well, and we talk a lot about traffic, like how important traffic is, which of course it's important. And I would beat myself up because I don't see this huge amount of growth. But when I look at this and I see 406 clicks versus 119, I'm thinking that may mean that it's more sticky. It's resonating more and people are reading more things. So I feel better.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, that's the thing with SEO. Like at the beginning, it's kind of like a snowball effect though. At the beginning, and you're kind of in the beginning stage, right? Because
Yes.
you've been doing this for this year. Results are slower, but then you just wait, there's going to be a period when you publish a blog post and in 2 weeks you're ranking, right? And it's incredible. And you're like, how did that happen? So yeah, so if we look at this, basically in the last 3 months, your site attracted 406 clicks compared to last year was 119. And an impression, so quickly for those of you who don't know, impressions are the amount of times that the site gets loaded in the search results. So it's kind of like that. I like to call it like the opportunity or the potential, right, of a site to rank, because you could be loading on page 50 of Google and that's not as interesting as page 1. But, this is incredible. Like last year was 11K and this year it's 53K. I mean, that's huge. And we can see here. So yeah, 2023 is going to be interesting for you, I think.
Yeah. And the average position, while it looks like it's dropped because I was sort of writing about.
No, it's gone up. So 36, you're higher in the search results.
Oh, I thought it went down, because what I was going to say was, which I've really focused on, is I had a billion different keywords that were not cohesive, and I've been narrowing them down more. So it's Pinterest and maybe blogging and things that go around it versus personal stuff and all kinds of other things. I didn't realize that I'm higher in the ranking. Okay,
this is
I get
good.
it.
Yeah, we want that number to go up or down, not up. Yeah, so this means that overall, I mean, this is very hard to analyze. So average position is very broad, but overall, your site has gone up in ranking. So 36 is around page 3, but again, that's average and it doesn't give us much. I recommend analyzing this metric on a keyword by keyword basis.
Perfect.
So yeah, this is incredible, Jen. I'm really excited to see how next year, continues to grow for you. And so what are you, we're going into a live round of the course. What are you going to work on? Like, just what do you want to focus on for this next live round?
So this is sort of the way that I work now that I've, drank the Kool-Aid and I am like in the SEO game. I am going to do every single training that it is humanly possible to attend, because I know it's sort of a quick turnaround, but more stuff. And I'm gonna literally do it and do the homework and do it and do the homework. So I can't wait to share with you.
Oh yes.
About I'm 3 really months excited. From now, the difference, because I have taken it so slow over the last year. Now I'm going to go in on it. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, no, I hear you. And it is like, I'm not going to lie, it is an investment of time, right? Like people, I don't know, people try to sell this thing of like, it's quick and easy. And honestly, all marketing takes something amount of time, money, energy. But the cool thing is that once you start doing it, it gets faster because you can turn on that SEO brain. Yes. And I find I've
already noticed that.
Right? Like you kind of switch that. And so things go faster. And then I do see students who just get out there writing, they batch it or whatever, they find a way to recycle with other content. I mean, I've shared this before, like I take multiple podcast episodes and I turn them into a blog post. Like there's just millions of ways. And then once you get the ball rolling, the focus is more on optimization of old content.
Yes.
Which a lot of people don't know, right? It's always new, because we're thinking about social media. But in SEO, no, you are working on maintaining your position and gaining new positions on blog posts that are on page 2. So the strategy shifts once you've got that momentum going.
Yeah, I can't wait to get there. But for
You
for right
will.
now, I feel like I'm going back and optimizing. In Pinterest, it changes a lot, but it is slow growth, just like SEO. So I've got patience galore. But I have a lot of blog articles that have a year in it, which a lot of people don't recommend, but for my business, people look with the year to make sure it's current
Yes.
information. So I'm going back through all my 2022 type blogs in December and updating them to 2023 while updating the blog information and adding more SEO keywords in there as appropriate.
Oh, love it. Oh, super good. Okay, awesome. Jen, you're so ready for the next live round.
Yeah.
I love it. Well, thank you so much. Where can if someone wants to get to know more about you and your business, where can they find you?
Yeah, I'm Jen Vazquez coach.com is my website. I hang out on Instagram and Pinterest. That's Jen Vazquez Media. And so just find me. You'll find me. Type it in and you'll find me.
Cool. Awesome. Thank you so much, Jen.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye.